we see on one level, one of the mistakes people make is that they expect results too quickly rather than seeing text as a foundational tool for their business. So quarterly, you get your first 90 days, you're going to start seeing deals come in. In the next quarter, then you can start to set expectations of what your baseline number of deals will be, and then what you would like to expand that to, right? And you can have a plan in place with our team in terms of how you want to hit that deal flow, right? So if in quarter 3 or 4, you want to go from closing an average of 1.7 deals per month to 3.2 deals per month, we can put an action plan into place to help you get there. But you need to think of it as a foundational tool, not as a quick hit marketing fix, because that's not how it functions its best. It functions when it is a pillar tool in your business or a foundational tool in your business, but you have to plan ahead for that.
Hey, it's David Richter here again, Profit First RIA Podcast. Have a special guest, Michael Bartolomei, on here. I want to make sure that you listen up on this one because we're going to be talking about texting. We have the framework of make, spend, and keep. This is a guy that can help you put more money in your pocket because he can help you make more money. So, Michael, thanks for being on the show today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, David. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one because you've had me speak to your group and you have an active group because you have people that are actually making money from deals and launch controls, the SMS and the messaging, but also marketing solutions as well, too, where I like bringing people on like that can help. And it sounds like you've got a pretty heavy strategy background in the marketing and just business building as well, too, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of sales and marketing, I've been involved with different companies for 20 plus years, but I've been involved directly in the REI space since 2019. Came on to Launch Control probably 6 months after inception, so I've been here really since the very beginning.
Wow. Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. And you've seen it grow, from there. What were you doing before that?
Well, actually, before Launch Control, I was a small business owner. I owned a boutique hotel and sold that, and kind of got back into a sales and marketing space. And so, Launch Control was a great opportunity for me to, work remotely, live where I wanted to live, but also kind of lean on my sales and marketing experience to help out within the industry. And to be fair, it was an industry that I wanted to learn more about. So it was, and it gave me the ability to kind of have on the job training in terms of an industry that I was interested in getting educated about.
Oh, very cool. That's how I broke into real estate too. I was very young and, wanted to learn about real estate. So I definitely resonate with that. Then I know we want to talk about the building the business and all that, but that was very interesting. You had a boutique hotel. Where was that located?
It was in Thailand. So I've lived in a bunch of different places over the years, and so we could have a whole separate podcast about the weird places that my weird life and the places that I've been. But
yeah, that's pretty awesome. So you sold that and then started working with Launch Control. Was that did you get a lot of experience there running a boutique hotel on the business ownership side and running that thing?
yeah, I mean, of course, like anytime you own a business, you are an accountant, you are a marketing manager, you are the head of sales, you're all of these things, and it's a great way, in a humbling way, to figure out what you're good at and what you're not, and what you need to maybe bring in help to help solve, for your business and grow for your business. Because like I know that there's a lot of adage from like the CEO builders and the visionary business launchers that will say, like, nobody's ever going to be as good as you are at running your business. Nobody's ever going to be as good as you are at all of the things necessary for your business. I kind of call BS on that a little bit. Like, even as if you're a visionary, even if you're a business owner, there are going to be certain aspects of that business that you are absolutely the best at. But I don't believe that you are the best accountant, the best marketer, the, best customer service representative, the best. There are going to be aspects of that business that you're just like, I don't want to do this. This is not my thing. I want my effort focused in other areas. And so it's okay to recognize that and either bring in or outsource in order to meet that need.
Hmm. No, that's awesome, and that's where if someone's not, because you see owners have lots of different skill sets and lots of different things that they're good at. Sometimes it is the numbers, like hardly ever, I would say, that, a visionary is, but marketing, sales, and sometimes more sales than marketing even. And that's where you step in with your company to really help on, especially the SMS side and then other ways as well too, because when I was on, you weren't just talking about that, you were talking about other ways that you help people with the different marketing channels and just all the things that you provide as a full suite there, which I thought was really cool. So, can you go into that? Like, why, for the business owners that don't want to build their own marketing engine, how important is it to have a marketing engine? And like, what does Launch Control provide specifically? Because I want people exposed to, because I believe in what you guys are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I was saying, when you're a business owner, you've got these different buckets of specialization, and it's hard to be a specialist in all of those areas. And text engagement. Think of if you think of it just in terms of cold calling, right?
Yeah.
It's not cold calling, but if you think of it in along the same framework, right? Anybody that's done cold calling knows that there is an art to it, right? It's not just the words in front of you. Like there's an art to it, and there's a reason why certain people are very good at it, and even more so, a certain reason why certain organizations are very good at it because they understand the nuances of it, and they're able to fine tune it, right? So the for us to expect as a software provider, you know, for us to expect you to be able to use the software, sure. I mean, using the software is easy, right? That's it's user friendly. But we can't expect you to walk in as high level text marketers. We can't
Mm.
expect you to walk in and understand how to best utilize text marketing for your business. That has to be taught. And we understand that, right? Because we live and breathe it every day. So we see the messages going out, we receive the responses coming in, and we speak to because Launch Control is the biggest network of real estate investors in the country. So we are speaking with people every day who are at the very beginning of their journey into real estate investment and heavily invested in educating and learning, and all the way up to people that are scaling up huge teams and they need to outsource parts of what they're doing because of the size and scope of their business. So within that full range, there is a necessity for coaching and there is a necessity for engagement training when it comes to text. So it's probably been for too long kind of a secret known within our community and not enough externally, but we put a massive focus on that. So when you come in and you work with Launch Control, we white glove the registration. We get everything set up with the carriers and their partners for you. And during that time, we work heavily on text engagement training through our customer success team. So we don't onboard, we optimize, right? So we give people ready to go. And we allow or we give people an ongoing resource throughout their entire time with Launch Control. So if you sign up, you get assigned to me. I'm your go-to person. I'm your fixer. Right. So everyone is going to have someone on our customer success team that is their fixer. Anytime they need help, they can go to them. And the thing that we really try to get across is don't go to them just because the the button doesn't work. Fixing the button's easy, right? Go to them because you just got a new probate list that in South Florida, you're not quite sure how to engage with that. And you want to get some advice on what would be the best way to connect your discovery call talk track with what you're saying in text. That's the level that we want people working with us because that's going to make the difference in terms of ROI for your business.
Okay. Now that's awesome because you see a lot of programs or things out there where it's just like, good luck. Here's your text messages or here's your mailer or here's, the resource to be able to do the thing. It sounds like you're really training though and making sure that they're successful. I liked how you use the word optimized versus onboarded. Onboarded has the picture of I just get to use your software now versus optimized is I'm gonna be on there, but I'm going to also optimize what's going out. So that way I can get the best responses coming in. That's what it sounds like, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always choose your own adventure, right? Like
Yeah.
if you want to come in and you want to use launch control and you don't ever want to speak to us, you've got it. You understand text marketing, you understand software, and you just want to go your own way, you are of course able to do that. We don't, it's not a forced optimization. It's not something where, you have to go through a, a training program and pass that training program in order to pass go. You can come in and just use the platform if you want. But what we really promote is for people to enter partnerships with us where we're able to, on one level, either work with your team and get your team fully optimized to use text engagement and let you guys run it. Or if you are looking to just outsource, we've got a done for you program called Launch Leads, and we will actually run the entire text marketing process for you and then set up a live lead handoff. Right. So if a homeowner is ready to get on a phone call, we'll set it up so that your team can then engage within, say, 3 to 5 minutes. Make sure that you capture that lead when it's hot, basically, and then get the homeowner on the phone and go through your discovery call process, get them into your sales funnel, and at that point, it's your processes, your scripting, your
Yeah.
your ability to pivot and close a deal.
What would you say? I'll probably ask both sides of the question, but I'll start with what are the biggest mistakes people make when text marketing and trying to get deals in the door?
Well, it's interesting. So one of the things that we say right out of the gate, and I say it's interesting because it really, I'm not being a homer here. I literally am reading your book right now, and
Yeah.
so there's a couple of things in your book that really stuck out, for me. Um, and one is after people pay themselves, right, and then having the money that they can allocate towards their marketing spend. But you also had, like, within those buckets that people are prepping for, like a little bit of money goes into the taxation bucket and a little bit of money goes into, right? But
Yeah.
having that stuff in advance so that you aren't hit with any surprises, right? You've got it covered at least quarterly,
Yeah.
right? And so we want people coming into text engagement thinking at least quarterly, right? Because if you come in and you allot 90 days, a 90-day ramp to get started with us, that is enough time to fill up your pipeline and start closing deals. Because the average deal is probably going to take what, maybe, like, realistically, from first point of contact, probably 30, maybe even 45 days to actually
Yeah.
get some profit off of that. Right? Maybe you'll get a quick one that turns around in 14 days and you've got money in your pocket, but realistically, it's going to take probably 6 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And that's if you hit on week one sending text messages, right?
Yep.
So we want that 90-day ramp so that you have a realistic runway to get your pipeline filled up, to discovery call get discovery calls booked, and for your team or yourself to go through that process with the seller to get to the point that you're now in dispo and you're now making money, right? And so with that 90-day ramp, you give yourself a lead in for success, right? So
Yeah.
we see on one level, one of the mistakes people make is that they expect results too quickly rather than seeing text as a foundational tool for their business. So quarterly, you get your first 90 days, you're going to start seeing deals come in. In the next quarter, then you can start to set expectations of what your baseline number of deals will be and then what you would like to expand that to, right? And you can have a plan in place with our team in terms of how you want to hit that deal flow, right? So if in quarter 3 or 4, you want to go from closing an average of 1.7 deals per month to 3.2 deals per month, we can put an action plan into place to help you get there. But you need to think of it as a foundational tool, not as a quick hit marketing fix, because that's not how it functions its best. It functions when it is a pillar tool in your business or a foundational tool in your business, but you have to plan ahead for that. And
That's one of the biggest mistakes is
yeah, and then one of the other big
yep.
mistakes, and the reason why I alluded to your book is you have in one of the first couple of chapters, you got a story about a guy who is going out shopping with his wife, and he's terrified that the credit card is going to get
Yeah.
uh,
Decline.
it, get declined, right? And we see that a lot where people are kind of running and gunning with their finances, where they go, oh crap, I got to cut something. I'm going to dial back or cut my marketing budget, right? And so it's not just launch control that has to navigate those moments. Marketing often is the first thing that gets cut, but marketing is the first point of contact for getting leads in, right? So if you're well prepped for these things and you know that a certain amount of your budget is going to need to go to that so that you can maintain consistency, consistency will get you deals. But the more that you turn this switch off and then turn it back on, turn it off, turn it back on, you're forcing yourself to start over with that pipeline. And that's going to have negative impact on your quarterly and yearly deal flow. So those are two of the mistakes we see is lack of consistency and just, I guess, lack of commitment. But it all really comes down to looking at certain marketing tools, not just launch control, but certain marketing tools as foundational elements to your business that are just there as drivers of growth and not as temporary experiments.
That makes sense. That's really good. Because, yeah, I like how you put that. Because, number one, it's like setting the right expectation, but then also making sure that you don't cut off your foundation. When you get in trouble, it's like we got to keep the deals coming in the door. It's almost like that, like you said, that's one of the people's first places to go to cut things off. It's like, well, let's try everything else. And then, like that should be the very last thing that we're looking at because then we're just, like you said, cutting our legs out from underneath us. That's really good. Now, you've seen a lot of businesses out there, and you've seen, especially with, the access that you have, now currently building your own business beforehand as well, too. What are some of the things that you see the most successful people in, I guess, especially the real estate space, since this is a real estate podcast. So what do you see them doing on a consistent basis, or what are the things that knit most of the, what habits would they have that knit them for success?
Yeah, absolutely. So the most successful teams have have really set scalable systems, and they have people within their organization that they really trust. So from that visionary standpoint, that
Yeah.
CEO standpoint, they've allowed themselves to take a step back, and they're allowed themselves to rely on processes. So if you're talking about like text engagement at the beginning, right? If you have a system in place and either you've outsourced it to launch through launch leads or your team's running it, but you know that system is not going to change month to month. You're going to pump in different data. You're gonna have different discovery calls that are getting lined up, and you're going to be able to convert those. But there's going to be a consistent approach to the point that if you, let's say you're running it yourself, if someone from your team leaves, you can plug someone else in, and in a very, very short amount of time, if no time at all, they're able to pick up where that person left off because the systems are tight. Right.
Hmm.
For sales, much the same, right? If you've got a system and the right CRM process set up, or sales funnel process set up, where with a bit of training, which can be done in house, you're not starting from scratch, right? So you don't have to pop in and manage the text marketing. You don't have to pop in and review discovery calls to see where you need to course correct. You can take all of that sales funnel process, have it flow so that what you're doing is having profit driven conversations only, right? Like if you need to talk to the seller, you're talking to the seller. If you need to deal with the dispo side, you're dealing with the dispo side. And then you find yourself in conversations like you and I have both had in like the collective genius, for instance, where people are not asking questions in those meetings of like, how are you guys handling TV commercials? Or what's your response when the seller says this? They're talking about scale questions, right? Like I've got a good team in place. I want to bring in a fractional CFO. Hey, David, right? I want to, they're looking at scaling their business and they're thinking of it as business operators and not as the simultaneous manager of marketing, sales, customer success. Whoa, they're not simultaneously trying to manage all of those things and then working like a 90-hour a week job and burning out, right?
Yeah, that's really good because that's where I'm sure you see that as well too, where people can start to pile on, and then it's like, oh shoot, what did I do here? Do you see that a lot in the industry on from where you sit?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually like, and I don't mean this as a negative for REI at all, because this
Yeah,
applies to every small business industry, right?
right.
Like, this is not an REI exclusive thing, but it's like it's this entrepreneur mentality of I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to run and gun, and when it gets broken, I'll go fix it, right?
Yeah,
As opposed to, because you just want to you there's this eagerness to get started when you're an entrepreneur. You just want to like prove yourself and you want to get money coming in. And most people aren't looking at, say, for instance, a really high performing real estate investment company and going, well, let me deconstruct that to fit the scale that I'm at right now. Right. So if, someone is, for instance, they're doing TV ads and direct mail, and they're in launch control, and they've got PPC ads running. They're working with Left Main, and they've got a Salesforce setup CRM. They're working with David Richter, and they've got a fractional CFO that they're with. We've got this whole operation, and the person looking at that goes, well, great, but I'm 3 years away from that, and a consistent deal flow of X number of deals a month. It's not realistic for me now, right? But in like I'm going to date myself, but in like a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids kind of way, right? Like, how do you take that huge setup and go, okay, well, what that really falls down to is what goes into, again, after I pay myself, what goes into my marketing budget, right? And what can I approximate there, right? Is TV out for now? Sure. Yeah, TV's out for now. But social's free, and I can do some stuff on social. Organic SEO is free. I can do that. I can get a website on like Launch Control will actually give me a website when I sign up for with them. So I don't even have to pay for this. But if I do want to pay for it myself, then it's going to cost me a template and a couple $100 to set up. Easy. Launch Control, cheapest subscription, the light package. I can definitely afford that, right? So marketing set, and then CRM. Look, I'm going to use Google Sheets for the first 2 quarters,
yeah,
and then I'm going to transition out of that. And to have this, like, break it up into, I've got my marketing bucket, my sales bucket, my operations bucket, my taxation and financial structure bucket, and be able to shrink that down to what you can do. But so you've got your buckets already set up. And once you have those buckets, in increasing the size of the bucket is a lot easier than figuring out what bucket you're missing. Right. So it's
yeah,
by deconstructing that and seeing what those elements of a scaled up business look like and making sure you've got them preset, then it's really easy to increase your launch control subscription and get more text messages out there, to add in direct mail, and then figure out how direct mail and launch control can work together in order to optimize your data and get you the most possible deals out of that, right? Now you're just bucket optimizing and not making a very common mistake of, well, how's launch control performing versus direct mail? It's not versus. That's a pool of homeowners that could potentially sell their homes. How many
right.
did you get? Right? How many were you able to get to the point of discovery, contract, sale with?
Yeah. That's really good. I like that. The deconstructing of the buckets and then seeing what it takes for each of them and then knowing, and really scaling a healthy business as well too. And I like how you said it's like you got to have all of those in place and knowing that and then being able to pour in to the buckets that need to be poured into it, especially up front. Even if you are scaled down with all that stuff, like you said, you still got to get the leads in the door. You still got to make sure that you're making the money because that's where, even with what we teach, making, spending, and keeping money, you got to make money in order to spend it or keep it. So it's like you got to have that money rolling in the door. So wherever you are now, even if you're down the road, I think this applies even to people that aren't just getting up and running, but if they're down the road and they've built something they don't like, it's like, get back to the fundamentals. Get back to like looking at those four areas like you're saying and being like, okay, I really need to focus on the marketing and getting the deals in the door if I'm not consistent with what we're doing right now. So no, I really like this. This has been really good. Lots of good value and information. So how do people reach out if they want to start launch control and want to get it part of this? And sounds like there's so many things besides the text messaging, which is what you're known for, but like also the coaching and the website and like, the actual strategy, that type of thing, and getting that point of contact to help and optimize. So how do they reach out and get a part of that?
Yeah, I mean, our team is really works together really well. We're a very cohesive unit. So, the link to get to us for launchcontrol.us, I think we've got a dedicated link with you. They should, if they're listening to this podcast, they should definitely use your link, because that'll let us know that they came in from this conversation, and give us a little heads up about what they'll be specifically looking for. But the first step of engagement is just going to be to work with our sales team. And our sales team, again, like they've been in this business for years at this point. They spend every day. I think some of them have been in acquisitions themselves, work for REI companies, so they get it.
Yeah.
And the first thing it's going to be doing is essentially a needs assessment, right? Because we, again, we help people at the very beginning stages of their career, of their real estate investment career, all the way up to the point where they're just trying to outsource a marketing channel for a large organization. So it's needs assessment first, figuring out, where we can problem solve for your business. And then once you get signed up, there's always a registration process with text engagement. It could take up to 2 weeks. That's just the reality of 10 DLC text marketing. So during that period, that's when you're going to work with our customer success team, and everybody coming on will have a dedicated customer success representative. So that's a person you can start to really brainstorm with, and come up with some unique solutions for your business. And if on the odd off chance that they get stumped and you get stumped, then it's just going to get kicked up to me, and then I'll come in, and I'll help you guys figure something out. But at the end of the day, we'll end up with really good solutions for you and your business.
Awesome. I love that. So we'll make sure we put that link in the show notes as well too. And I guess, do you have any other parting advice for real estate investors before we end the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, the my best advice, like I said in the beginning, is really think about certain elements of what you're adding, launch control included, as really being foundational elements of your business, and plan for them on a quarterly or even yearly focus, because you'll start to see over the course of time that you're going to have, with all marketing channels, that they're all going to hit a little bit differently at different times of the year, and it's never going to be consistent, right? So if you have those foundational kind of tools in place, you'll always have lead flow coming in. And as long as you have lead flow coming in, then you have the ability to close and to scale, right? And then it becomes just your sales processes, and those sales processes, you fine tune those, and you'll be able to really predictably support and then grow your business. But do maintain consistency.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And yeah, just another admonition here. Texting, we all look at our text messages all the time. Like, even if I get a spam text message from it's, what time of the year is it right now? We've got the elections coming up and everything. Like, in this, where I am right now, we're getting text messages like that, but I still see them. Even if it's not like someone I support, I still look at it and it goes away. So if you're out there, this is a great place to at least start. I love what you said too. I think this is a great place where, whether you're starting out or if you're running and doing 10 deals, 20 deals a month or whatever, this is something that could be very foundational to your business. because we all look at our text messages. And if you find the people and you get that list that are going to be more motivated, they're going to look at that, pick it up and say, okay, maybe I need to give them a contact or reach out, especially if you have Michael and his team guiding you to what's the best thing to say. And here's when I would send it in, like all the things that they can help you do, which I think is incredible, rather than just giving you, here's the system, good luck. So I really like how it's set up. So that's really good stuff. And then if you're listening to Michael and you're like, what is he talking about? David and his book. And if you're on this podcast, if you have no idea what he's talking about, I wrote Profit First for Real Estate Investing and have my business Simple CFO. If you need help and you're making money and feeling broke, like where is it all going, and need clarity on the financial side, that's what we do. So you could go to simplecfo.com and see if we're a good fit, or if we can at least help you on the financial side some way, if it's just pointing you in the right direction of where you should go right now based on the size of your business. So Michael, this has been awesome. Thank you for the value provided today and helping people, and looking forward to having you on again in the future.
Yeah, happy to do it. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
This episode of the Profit First for REI podcast is over, but there are plenty more where that came from. Are you ready to learn how David and his team can help implement the Profit First system in your business? Schedule a discovery call at simplecfo.com right now. We'll see you next time on the Profit First for REI podcast with David Richter.